Oh, guys. Oh my god. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. Please stay. Please, please stay. Please, please. I'm running late once again. I was being held hostage. Hi, y'all. Woo. Hello, 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 hello. There's some sounds coming in, I don't know. Um, guys, I was being held hostage by my singing teacher. Hi, Zen. Hello. I'll leave it like that, even though it's very bright. Yay, finally notified for a live. I still need to set up, because my singing teacher loves to do 2-hour classes. Well, this time it went like kind of over. You had an alarm just to wake up from a nap? That's crazy. I saw that you posted your Artie Sauce fanfic. I saw the Twitter notification. Uh, oh my god. Setting this up. Everything's so hard. Oh my god. Oof. I hate going live without being set up, but I was running late, so. But they want a crowd. Period. I've seen things about this chapter. I honestly don't know what to expect. Like, I have not been spoiled, so. That's why I send an alarm. My favorite celebrity, guys. Hi, Cheeky. Oh my god. It's 3 p.m. 3 a.m. for you. I know the times. Hi, y'all. Oh, also my singing teacher was like, after after our class, there's no talking. And I'm like, sorry, I have plans. I didn't want to go live before my class because I had just eaten and I was scared that I would like start burping and stuff. So I waited, but maybe that was the wrong idea. But here we are now. So let me pull up Two's Company. Where are you? I love having a million tabs. And Two's Company is nowhere to be found. Where are you? I'll just pull it up over here. How's everyone doing today? You have not missed anything. I haven't even started because I'm a mess. I am such a mess. And my family loves to be loud. I sometimes like rewatch the lives and I like keep hearing my family in the background and I'm like, guys, guys. Okay, let's go to the new chapter. The new chapter is called Too Much But Not Enough, which I have no feelings about. Today was my first day of college classes. Oh my god, congratulations. My first day of college classes was around this time 5 years ago. Oh my god, I'm not even that old. But you guys are just too young. Hey Toss. Hey Toss. I'm going to be I'm gonna try to be more soft spoken today because my singing teacher like scared me, being like, don't talk, don't talk. So I hope there's not a lot of yelling, but there might be. And you know what? If that's the case, then we're just gonna have to deal with it. We're just gonna have to deal with it. My connection is already being iffy, which is really lovely, really awesome. But I have the page pulled up. Hi, Toss. How are you doing? This chapter is so fluffy, definitely, 100%, certainly, and I believe you. You guys are so believable. I definitely believe you. Oh my god. Yay! This chapter was beautiful and I so want to draw more, but I don't want to spam art that much. Bro, spam art. Art is the best thing to spam. If you're gonna spam anything, spam art. Yeah, Toss is here, y'all. I don't wanna yap too much. I just like continue yapping because I keep seeing stuff in the chat, but I don't wanna yap too much. Since I'm already late. Can't wait for your reaction, Artie. Can't wait to read. The summary is, I saw the summary because I like pulled it up. The summary is they broke into a million pieces, but they can go back. Nice one. Ba-dum-ts. Hi everyone. I'm just gonna get started. Also, it keeps giving me like connection warnings. I'm just gonna hope that the Wi-Fi connection is good. Rumi stood off to the side, wiping at her swollen eyes, though it didn't do much good. Her head throbbed faintly from all the crying, every pulse of pain matching the weight pressing down on her chest. She followed silently as Jinu unlocked his front door, stepping aside to let them in. He'd gotten his own apartment recently, saying dorm life wasn't for him anymore. "It's nothing too fancy," he said with a casual shrug, like he always did when he didn't want anyone making a big deal out of something. Rumi glanced around the space, forcing what was supposed to be a smile. "Definitely better." Her voice came out thin, like it wasn't really hers. Zoe didn't say a word. She just brushed past and disappeared down the hallway when Jinu nodded toward the guest room. "Down the hallway on your left," he murmured softly, watching her go. Rumi turned to follow Zoe, but... "Rumi?" She stopped mid-step. I can't talk. She stopped mid-step and looked back at him. Jinu's expression was gentle, brows slightly pinched, voice quiet in the dimly lit entryway. "Can we talk?" For a moment, she wanted to say no. She wanted to shake her head, shut herself in the guest room, and crawl under the blankets until the world stopped existing. But she knew bottling it up wouldn't make any of it go away. Her throat bobbed as she swallowed. Then she gave a small, stiff nod. They ended up on the couch, and without even thinking, Rumi wrapped her arms around herself, fingers curling into the sleeves of her hoodie. It was something she always used to do when she was younger and had nobody to hold her. It grounded her, even now. Jinu leaned forward slightly, elbows resting loosely on his knees as he studied her face. "You don't have to tell me if you don't want to," he said gently. "But..." He hesitated, like he was choosing his words carefully. "I can put two and two together. And since Mira's not here with you, I'm guessing something happened." Rumi's jaw clenched, her fingertips digging into the soft fabric of her hoodie. She rubbed at her forehead, exhaling slowly, like maybe if she breathed deep enough, she'd keep herself from falling apart again. "What didn't happen?" she muttered bitterly under her breath, then let out a shaky, humorless laugh that cracked halfway through. Jinu didn't say anything, just waited, patient as always. "Mira," Rumi started, voice catching on the name, but she had to stop. The moment she thought about it, the words Mira had thrown at her came rushing back, sharp, jagged, cruel in a way she didn't think Mira was capable of being. And it hurt. God, it hurt so much. Her throat burned, tears welling up again despite how exhausted she already was. She shut her eyes tight, like maybe that could hold them back, but it didn't work. The weight of it all pressed harder, and suddenly she felt like a child again, small, unwanted, and somehow to blame for everything. Before she could even finish the thought, Jinu opened his arms wordlessly, and she just broke. She folded into him without hesitation, burying herself in his chest as the sobs tore out of her raw and uneven. Her entire body shook as she clung to him, like she was trying to hold herself together. Jinu wrapped his arms around her, holding her steady, one hand rubbing slow circles across her back. "You're fine," he murmured quietly, the words low and grounding. "Just breathe, Rooms, you're fine." But she didn't feel fine. She felt like she was splintering apart, like no matter how tight she hugged herself, she couldn't contain everything spilling out of her. Was it my fault? The thought crept in uninvited, relentless. Maybe if she hadn't frozen up during the fight. Maybe if she said the right thing, defended Zoe better, softened Mira's temper. Maybe if she hadn't been her. She let herself drown in it, pressing her forehead against Jinu's shoulder until it almost hurt, because the sting was easier than thinking. Every word Mira had thrown still replayed in her head, raw and unfiltered, like salt rubbed into an open wound. And no matter how much she told herself not to believe them, a part of her did. A part of her always did. By the time the sobs slowed into hiccups and uneven breaths, her throat burned and her chest felt heavy and hollow all at once. She finally pulled back slightly, swiping at her wet face with trembling hands. Her brain was fuzzy, like cotton stuffed between her ears, and she couldn't seem to focus on anything except the ache in her ribs from crying so hard. She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Instead, she just sighed shakily, burying her hands into her face. God, I wish I could just telepathically send you everything by touching our foreheads or something. Her voice was hoarse and thin, muffled through her palms. It'll be so much easier than saying it out loud. For a second, Jinu almost smiled, but his eyes stayed soft, steady. "So, a lot, then?" "A lot," she whispered, her voice barely carrying. After a pause, she reached for her phone, hesitating before unlocking it. "I'll just text it to you," she mumbled, too drained to try putting any of it into words. He nodded without question and pulled his own phone out, giving her space. The apartment went silent except for the faint hum of the fridge in the kitchen. Rumi stared at the empty message box for a long time before her thumbs started moving, slow and hesitant at first, then faster as everything spilled out. Every messy detail, the fight, the yelling, the sound of Mira's voice breaking when she told them to leave, the look in Zoe's eyes right after. By the time she hit send, her chest felt tight and her stomach churned with a sickness she couldn't name. She set the phone face down on the couch beside her, curling her knees up and hugging them to her chest. For a long while, she didn't look at Jinu, didn't look at anything. She just sat there, empty and raw, waiting for the silence to swallow her whole. Jinu stared at the massive paragraph on his phone, scrolling softly. His brows furrowed here, twitching there, jaw tightening with every new line. He didn't say a word until he reached the end. He blew a quiet breath, leaning back on the couch as he raked a hand through his hair. "Fuck," he muttered finally, voice low, almost stunned. "That's a lot." Rumi didn't respond, just hummed, muffled against her knees, which were still tucked tightly to her chest. Jinu leaned forward, elbows resting on his thighs. "So, Let me get this straight. His voice softened, like he was trying to make sense of something fragile without breaking it. Mira's been spiraling, dealing with nightmares, trauma she thought she was past. She blew up, blamed you, kicked you and Zoe out, and now he glanced at her curled up figure, his jaw tightening again. Now you're here, looking like a ghost. She didn't answer, but he caught the slight tremor in her shoulders. Honestly, he said after a beat, voice careful and even. All three of you need therapy. Heavy therapy. It was such a Jinoo thing to say that Rumi almost laughed. Almost. What came out instead was a choked, watery sound that was somewhere between a laugh and a sob. Yeah, she rasped. Probably. Silence settled over them for a moment. Not the peaceful kind, the heavy kind. The kind where it feels like the air itself is pressing down on you. When Jinoo finally spoke again, his voice was quiet. Do you blame yourself? That broke something in her. Rumi nodded quickly, almost violently, before tears stung her eyes again. So much. Her voice cracked, and she tried to swallow it down, but the words spilled out anyway. Rumi, I know it doesn't make sense. She cut in fast, almost angry with herself. I know it wasn't her, not the real her, but... Her voice fractured on the word, and she pressed a trembling hand over her mouth for a second before forcing it down. I can't stop thinking about it. Every word she said, it's just... She sucked in a shaky breath, frustration bleeding into the edges of her voice. I keep replaying it over and over, like if I can just figure out what I did wrong, maybe I can, I don't know, undo it? Fix it? Jinoo didn't interrupt. He just watched her, quiet, steady, an anchor she couldn't bring herself to grab onto yet. I keep thinking, she whispered, barely audible now, that if I never ran out that day, none of this would have happened. If I didn't let them come after me, she wouldn't have gotten hurt. Not like that, not... Her throat closed up and she choked on a sob, curling tighter into herself. I took the one thing she loved away from her, Jinoo. Her tear-streaked gaze finally met his, red and glassy. Do you get that? The one thing that made her feel whole, the one thing that made her feel important. I did that to her. Me. Her words came out in broken bursts now, like she couldn't hold them back anymore. She probably hates me right now, she whispered, her voice shaking so hard it barely sounded like her own. And Zoe probably does too. God, Zoe. Her chest tightened, tears spilling freely now. I ruined everything between them two. Zoe had to yell at her, had to break up with her because of me. Jinoo's jaw tightened, but he didn't speak. Rumi bit down hard on her trembling lip, sobs racking through her small frame. Sometimes I think maybe if I was never in the picture, everything would have been fine. All of it. The words came out so raw, so soft. It hurt to even hear them. Her grip on her knees tightened until her knuckles went pale. I hate it so much, Jinoo, she whispered, voice splintering. I hate that I'm always the one who ruins good things. For me, for them, for everyone. Her breath hitched again, and she ducked her head, pressing her forehead into her knees to hide her face even though she knew Jinoo wasn't judging her. She just couldn't handle being seen right now. Jinoo stayed quiet, his expression softening in a way only she would notice. After a moment, he shifted closer on the couch, slow and careful, like he was giving her every chance to pull away. I missed my spot. When she didn't, he wrapped an arm around her shoulders and tugged her gently into his chest. The dam broke. Rumi clung to him with shaking hands, muffling her sobs into his hoodie as he held her tight, rubbing slow circles into her back. "You didn't ruin everything," he murmured quietly, his voice steady against the chaos spinning in her chest. "I know it feels like it right now, but Rumi, none of this is your fault. You hear me?" She shook her head weakly against him, unable to believe it. Jinoo didn't push. He just kept holding her like he wasn't going anywhere, even when she soaked his shirt and trembled in his arms. And for the first time since leaving the apartment, Rumi let herself fall completely. She sat like that for a while, her muffled sobs filling the silence, his steady breathing grounding her against the storm in her chest. When her cries finally started to taper off into shaky little hiccups, Jinoo loosened his hold just enough to look down at her. "Rumi?" Her head shifted slightly, but she didn't lift it. "You gotta stop doing this thing where you carry everything," he said, softly, his voice low but firm. "Like the whole world collapses and it's automatically your fault. It's not." She shook her head weakly against him, sniffing hard. "But it is," she croaked out, her voice hoarse from crying. "If I hadn't—" "No." His tone sharpened, not harsh, but unyielding. "Don't do that. Don't sit here and play the what-if game until it eats you alive." She finally lifted her head just enough to look at him, her red, tear-streaked eyes glassy and searching. "You think Mira's broken because of you?" Jinoo asked, meeting her gaze evenly. "Rumi, she's been through a lot, long before you. You didn't cause any of that." Her lips trembled as she tried to argue, but nothing came out. "You want to know what I see?" he continued, softer this time. "I see someone who's been holding everyone else together while falling apart herself. You and Zoe both. And Mira? She's not mad at you. She's mad at herself, at her body, at the fact she thought she was okay and found out she wasn't." Rumi's breath hitched, her shoulders curling in again like she was trying to disappear. Jinoo sighed, running a hand down his face before reaching out to gently pry her hands from where they clutched her knees. He held them loosely between his, grounding her. "Listen, I'm not saying what happened didn't hurt. I know it did. And yeah, things are messy as hell right now, but this idea you have that you ruined everything, that they'd all be better off if you weren't there." He shook his head, slow and deliberate. "That's a lie your brain's feeding you, and you're buying it because you're scared." Her throat worked around a lump she couldn't swallow. "But what if it's true?" she whispered. Jinoo squeezed her hands gently, pulling her focus back to him. "Then explain Zoe," he said simply. "Explain why she looks at you like you hung the damn stars. Explain why Mira, who doesn't let anyone in, lets you close enough to hurt her. You think that's because you ruin people? No, Rumi, that's because they care. Deeply. Probably more than either of them knows how to say." Her face crumpled at that, another sob breaking free. But this time, it sounded different, less jagged, less suffocating. Jinoo's voice stayed quiet, steady. "You don't ruin things," he murmured. "Bad things just happen. And sometimes we survive them, and sometimes we break a little first. We break a little first. But you being here," he gave her hands another squeeze. "You make it better, even when you don't see it." For a moment, she just stared at him, silent tears streaking her cheeks, something fragile shifting in her chest at his words. Jinoo didn't try to say anything else after that. He just leaned back against the couch, keeping his arm around her, letting her sit in the quiet without forcing her to fill it. After a moment, Jinoo glanced toward the hallway where Zoe had disappeared.
What about her? Is she okay? Rumi bit down on her trembling lip until it hurt. I don't know. Her voice was barely above a whisper now. She hasn't said a single word to me since we left. Not one. She swallowed hard, throat thick, before continuing. And I know she's probably in her head right now, but... Her breath hitched suddenly as she covered her face with both hands. I don't know what to do. Everything's just so much. Jinu stayed quiet for a beat, watching her carefully, then spoke gently, like he was afraid too much weight in his voice might shatter her completely. She probably needs you right now more than anything. Right, Rue? Rumi squeezed her eyes shut, nodding once, but the tears still came. When's the last time you guys actually checked up on her? Jinu's voice was quiet, careful, like he already knew the answer. Rumi blinked, her lips parting, but nothing came out. It was only when her chest started to ache that she realized she'd been holding her breath. Not enough, she admitted finally, her voice cracking around the words. Not even close. Jinu sighed softly, leaning back against the cushions. Yeah, thought so. He dragged a hand down his face before turning his gaze on her, sharp but not unkind. She's been your shoulder to cry on every single time, Rue, but where's hers? It's always the one who looks the happiest all the time. It's always... That landed like a punch. Rumi's stomach twisted painfully as her eyes burned all over again. She stared down at her hands, curling them into fists until her nails dug into her palms. We never offered her one, she whispered, her voice cracking. God, I'm horrible. You're not horrible, Jinu said firmly, cutting her off before the spiral could take root. His hand came down on her shoulder, steady and grounding. But you and Mira, you've both been so wrapped up in your own shit that you didn't even notice how much Zoe's been carrying. She's strong, yeah, but she's not invincible, Rue. No one is. The shame crawled beneath Rumi's skin, raw and relentless. Her chest felt like it was caving in. There was a long, heavy silence Jinu gave her time to breathe, to sit with it, before finally speaking again. This time softer, almost hesitant. Do you still... Yes. The words slipped out before he could even finish. Too fast, too raw. Jinu blinked, eyebrows lifting slightly, but he didn't tease, didn't push. He just nodded, slow and deliberate, like that one word told him everything he needed to know. Okay. Rumi sucked in a shaky breath, her throat tight. I'm hurt, she whispered, staring at her hands. But I still love her. Jinu leaned back, exhaling through his nose. He didn't smile, but his expression softened, something quiet settling in his gaze. After a beat, he reached over and ruffled her hair like he used to when they were teens. All right, he said gently. Then hold on to that. Everything else, the fights, the guilt, the mess, it's going to be overwhelming right now. But love's the one thing you can't fake, Rue. And it's the one thing you guys have never lacked. Her lips trembled as she nodded, her chest tight, but her breathing slowly evening out. I'm gonna go check on Zoe. Yeah. Jinu leaned back into the couch, arms draped over the cushions, and offered a small, crooked smile, soft but steady. Night, Rumi. Good night. Her own smile was weak, shaky, but real as she leaned forward and wrapped her arms around him. He hugged her back tightly, resting his chin on top of her head. Feels impossible, right? It feels impossible now, he murmured against her hair. But it will get better. You three are too stubborn to let this be the end. Rumi's throat tightened, and she clung to him just a little longer before finally pulling back. Thanks, Jinwoo. Really. You're lucky I don't charge for stupid lesbians therapy. He huffed, grinning. Rumi chuckled softly and got up. Stupid lesbians therapy. Jinwoo has to have a major in do you mean psychology, psychic, or therapy? Something related to it. Nobody knows by Roos. For real playing Nobody Knows by Roos on the background. I don't know what that is. Nobody Knows by Roos. Jinwoo, our man. Yeah, our girl Zoe, she's been neglected. Hi, Danny. Oh my God, wait, let me make you the mod. I think I did it. Okay. I have returned. What did I miss? We read the Jinwoo therapy session. Jinwoo Rumi's therapy session. Oh, everyone needs a hug. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. YouTube is never gonna work. I know that no one else is worried about that. I'm just gonna have to download it over and over and over again. Anyway. Okay, let's keep going. Zoe time. Zoe curled deeper into the new, unfamiliar sheets, bunching them up under her chin like they could somehow replace the comfort she'd lost. The fabric was too cold, too smooth, nothing like her own bed, nothing like home. She let out a shaky breath, forcing her eyes shut tighter, like maybe she could just fall asleep fast enough. Like maybe if she could just fall asleep fast enough, she'd wake up and this wouldn't be real. That this was some messed up nightmare she'd crawl out of in the morning and everything would still be fine. They'd be fine. Not this. Not whatever this was. Her throat burned as she turned onto her side, curling into herself until she was small enough to disappear. A tiny broken sound slipped out without her meaning to, and she bit her lip hard to swallow the rest. The door creaked open behind her. Zoe's breath hitched, and she shifted just enough to glance over her shoulder. Rumi stood in the doorway. Oh, her Rumi. She looked wrecked, her lashes clumped from crying, eyes glassy and red-rimmed, the corners of her mouth pulled tight like she was holding herself together with sheer force of will. The sight made something inside Zoe splinter, sharp and sudden. She wanted to say something, anything, a joke, an apology, a soft promise that things would be okay. But the words got stuck somewhere deep in her throat. Rumi didn't say anything either. She just shut the door behind her, padded softly across the room, and slipped under the covers without hesitation. Zoe turned back around, staring at the wall as she let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Then, softly, Rumi's voice broke the quiet. Do you want to cuddle? Zoe's heart lurched. Yes, God, yes, anything to anchor her before she drowned in the noise of her own head. Without answering, she rolled over and buried herself against Rumi, clutching at her like a lifeline. Rumi's arms came around her waist immediately, steady and warm, pulling her in until there wasn't any space left between them. For the first time all night, Zoe's body started to uncoil. Her shoulders sagged, the tension bleeding out of her muscles with every shaky breath she took. Something about holding Rumi, something familiar in the weight of it, was enough to keep Zoe from completely unraveling. She shut her eyes tight, biting the inside of her cheek to keep the tears at bay. Not now. Not yet. Rumi had already been through it enough today. The last thing she needed was Zoe falling apart on her too. Zoe? Rumi's voice was so soft, Zoe almost almost thought she imagined it. She tried to speak, but all that came out was a strangled little hum, acknowledgement without words. Rumi seemed to understand. I'm sorry, she whispered, hesitant but steady. I should have asked sooner, but are you okay? Zoe froze. The words landed heavy, sinking straight to the part of her chest she'd been trying so hard to ignore. This is like, this is legit my therapist being like, how do people ask you if you're okay? And I'm like, no. Anyway. Rumi shifted slightly, just enough to press her forehead against Zoe's temple. You don't have to be, you know, she murmured. Not all the time. You can tell me if you're not. Something inside Zoe cracked. It was small at first, a hairline fracture deep in her chest. But then the pressure built, fast and unrelenting, until everything inside her caved. A sob ripped out of her throat before she could stop it, raw and jagged and so much louder than she meant it to be. She buried her face in Rumi's shoulder, clutching her like she'd disappear if she let go. All the words she hadn't said, all the guilt and fear she'd shoved down, came crashing through at once. Guys, therapy is really important. Oh my god, you don't thank you, Zin. You don't have to gift anything. Go to therapy, guys. Therapy is important. Oh, she didn't mean it. God, she didn't mean what she'd said about hating Mira. She didn't mean ripping the ring off. She was angry. She was hurt. She lashed out without thinking, and now it was too late. Okay, rant time. Apparently there were people like on Twitter or whatever being like, oh, Zoe saying that is so out of character. Guys, she wasn't in the right headspace. None of them were. Guys, come on. Come on. People, in moments like that, people don't think clearly. Why therapy when we have this fic? No. No. Therapy is important. Yeah, okay. Yes. Another sob tore through her chest, and she shook her head against Rumi like she could erase everything if she just denied it hard enough. She missed them. She missed everything. She needed Mira. She needed Rumi. She needed Zoe and Mira and Rumi to still mean something, to still exist the way it used to. Because without that, without them, she wasn't sure who she was supposed to be. Rumi's lips trembled, but she didn't falter. She just pulled Zoe closer, holding her like she could shield her from her own breaking heart. Let it out, Zoe, she whispered against her hair, voice thick but steady. Just let it all out. And Zoe did. Her sobs came harder this time, racking her whole body until her chest ached and her breaths came out in broken gasps. She clung to Rumi with everything she had, fists twisting in her shirt like letting go wasn't an option. Through it all, Rumi stayed there, solid and unmoving, rubbing slow, grounding circles against Zoe's back. Not saying much, just existing with her in the mess of it, holding on until Zoe didn't have to do it alone. Eventually, Zoe managed to calm down, or at least her body did. Her sobs slowed, tapering off into shaky little exhales, and then into silence. Everything she had been holding in for days, maybe weeks, was gone now, wrung out of her until she felt hollow and weightless, like someone had scooped her insides out and left nothing behind. She sniffled softly and buried her face deeper into Rumi's chest. She didn't feel fine, not even close, but she felt less like she was suffocating than before, and for now, that had to be enough. Rumi shifted slightly beneath her, adjusting her hold so Zoe was tucked fully against her. There was a gentle press of lips against her temple, warm and grounding, and Rumi whispered, so soft it was almost lost between heartbeats. Feeling better? Zoe bit down hard on her lip, her throat aching. Her head gave a jerky little nod, but almost immediately she shook it, contradicting herself. She tried to speak, tried to get something out, anything, but her throat locked up like her vocal cords had just stopped working. She managed a tiny broken noise instead, curling herself tighter into Rumi as if she could hide there. It had been so long since she'd gotten like this. So overwhelmed she couldn't speak. She hated it. Hated how small it made her feel. How trapped inside her own head she became. She wanted to scream, to tell Rumi everything was boiling under her skin, but all she could do was hold on and breathe through the jagged edges of it all. Jagged edges. I see you. Rumi didn't push. She just rubbed soothing circles against Zoe's back and let the silence hold them, giving her space to breathe, to exist, to not be okay for once. And God, Zoe loved her for that. But the reprieve didn't last long. Something buzzed softly against Zoe's hip, a quiet vibration breaking through the fragile calm. Zoe felt Rumi shift, fumbling for something, and turn her head just enough to glance at her, only to see the phone in her hand. Rumi's face went pale. Zoe barely had time to react before Rumi angled the screen toward her. Mira, my girlfriend now. Little heart, the heart with the 3. The words were so simple, so harmless on the surface, but Zoe's chest constricted instantly, lungs seizing around the weight of it. Her heart lurched violently, like it had tripped over itself. This was soon. Very soon. Too soon. She wasn't ready. Rumi swallowed hard, glancing between Zoe and the glowing screen. Her voice came out small, hesitant. Do you want me to answer? Zoe's jaw worked uselessly, teeth catching against the inside of her cheek. Her throat was still racked, her head screaming a dozen different things at once, but no words would come. She just pressed her forehead into Rumi's shoulder and squeezed her eyes shut. She didn't know if she was ready for this. She didn't know if they could fix this. But if they didn't at least try, she knew they'd never come back from it. Her silence was enough of an answer. Rumi took a shaky breath and swiped at the screen, putting the call on speaker. Zoe's grip on her tightened instinctively. Hello? Rumi managed, her voice barely above a whisper. They better get together at the end of this. They better get together at the end of this. Yeet the phone, answer it tomorrow. No. What is that? Oh, what is that? Someone planted a flag on my head. Thank you. I was so scared for Mira. No, I was so scared for Mira after reading that, because my mind just remembered the time Rumi went away, and I was like, don't leave Mira alone like that. Thank you, Zin. Thank you, Zin. You don't have to. All of these are going to donations. I donated half of the money I received already, so all the donations are being donated. Thank you, guys. Get the stuffies. I have the stuffy. Do I need more? Thank you, Zen. Thank you. She keeps driving people away, and she did it again with both of them now. Guys! Mira, my baby. Mira, my baby. This is Two's company. I have Lele here and prepared. I need to I need to like get you on stream so you can show off Lele. I have my cat to comfort me. That's the best, especially with this fic. Especially with this fic. Lele the turtle. Okay. Mira time. Mira, 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 Mira. I'm hoping she's fine. I have mac and cheese. Good old mac and cheese. Mira didn't know how long she'd been curled up on the kitchen floor. Sometimes you just need to stay there, bro. Minutes, hours, it all blurred together until time didn't mean anything. Her tears had dried, but the evidence of them clung to her skin. Hot streaks on her cheeks, swollen lids, a nose rubbed raw from wiping it too many times. Her chest ached with every shallow inhale. Her knuckles throbbed faintly from where she'd hit her fists too hard against the cabinets earlier, and her throat burned like she'd swallowed glass from crying until nothing came out anymore. Everything hurt. Her gaze was locked on the small turtle ring lying on the floor a few feet away, glinting softly under the kitchen light. It looked so delicate, so harmless, like it hadn't just unraveled everything between them. She let out a ragged, shaky breath. She fucked up. God, she fucked up so bad. The silence in the apartment pressed against her ears, loud and suffocating. It left too much space for her thoughts to spiral, for every single word she'd said to replay in relentless loop, every sharp edge of her anger, every stupid, venomous thing she'd spit without thinking. She hated herself for it. She'd been doing so well. At least she thought she had. No nightmares, no panic spirals. She thought she'd gotten better. She thought she'd climbed out of that dark place for good. And then one tiny trigger, one stupid little push, and suddenly she was back here again. Back there again. Back to snapping, lashing out, hurting the people she loved most because her chest couldn't hold the storm anymore. She curled her knees tighter to her chest, nails digging into her skin, willing the sting to ground her. It didn't. She didn't even notice the tears starting up again until they blurred her vision. You ruined it, she whispered hoarsely to no one, her voice cracking against the silence. You fucking ruined everything. Her head fell back against the cabinet, eyes closing. She wanted to believe there was still a way forward, but every path she imagined led to the same thing, them walking away. Rumi, Zoe, both slipping out of her life because she couldn't keep herself together. She hated how much that terrified her. A faint tickling sensation against her neck made her open her eyes, and she found Nimbus perched delicately on her shoulder, tiny paws kneading her cheek. His little claws pricked her skin just enough to sting. Everyone in chat during the last chapter being like, she has Nimbus, she has Nim, she has Nim. I hope you guys are happy. We love Nim. Ow, Mira hissed softly, moving her face away, but the sound that left her was barely more than a tired breath. She reached up and scooped him carefully into her lap, holding him like he was the only thing tethering her to reality right now. Sitting up made her dizzy, the blood rushing to her head too fast. She braced a hand against the counter, steadying herself as her chest rose and fell unevenly. She was exhausted, hollowed out, and so goddamn lost. But she knew one thing for sure. If she didn't fix this, really fix it, she was going to lose them. And Mira didn't know if she could survive that. She stared down at Nimbus, cradled in her arms, his soft little body warm against her chest. His tiny ears twitched, and he let out the faintest, questioning meow, like he could tell something was wrong. Mira exhaled a shaky breath and brushed a thumb gently over his soft gray fur, letting the motion ground her. Yeah, me too, she muttered, her voice raw from crying. The dogs outside went crazy, I'm sorry. She set him down carefully on the counter and went through the motions of feeding him because at least that she could do. Something simple, something that made sense. Oh, she found the can of wet food, peeled back the lid, and scooped it into his little bowl. Nimbus patted over, immediately burying his face into the food, and the soft sound of his tiny smacks filled the silence. The acts of service girlies. The acts of service girlies. I love her so much. Yeah. Yep. Oh my god, I lost it again. Okay, it shouldn't have helped, but it did, even just a little. Mira leaned against the counter, resting her chin on her folded arms, watching him eat like her life depended on it. Something about it, the quietness, the normalcy, soothed a part of her that had been clawing at her chest all night. Her hand drifted out, fingers brushing lightly over the soft gray fur along his back. "What should I do, bud?" She whispered hoarsely, barely louder than a breath. "Because I don't know anymore." Nimbus ignored her entirely, too busy licking his bowl clean, and Mira let out a humorless little laugh that sounded more like a sigh. Straightening slowly, she reached over to the counter where the ring sat and picked up hers and Rumi's turtle ring. It felt heavier in her hand than it should have. She turned it over between her fingers, the metal cold against her palm, and stared at it until her vision blurred. A shaky breath tore free, unsteady and jagged. She bent down and retrieved Zoe's ring from the floor too, holding both in her trembling hands like they were fragile. Like one wrong move would make them shatter into pieces she could never put back together. And that was when the memory slammed into her, vivid and cruel. This next part is in italics, so it's a memory. Zoe was on one knee outside the aquarium, the glow of the neon sign washing her in soft pinks and blues. Not Toss bringing my favorite moment in this entire fic. not Toss traumatizing me further by reminding me of my favorite part of the fic. Hi Toss. The tiny velvet box in her hand was open, revealing the turtle ring nestled inside. Her grin stretched so wide, Mira thought her cheeks had to hurt. I remember how I felt when I read this. I know we're already girlfriends, Zoe had started, almost bouncing on her heel. But I'm doing this with you too because I didn't want you to feel left out since I did it to Rumi. Wait, we haven't gotten this one. I just realized we didn't get this moment, right? We did get this moment, right? Yeah, we hadn't gotten this moment. Oh, Toss, you genius. You evil genius. Oh, it hurts so good. Mira blinked, thrown, and opened her mouth to ask what the hell she was talking about. But Zoe was already holding the box higher, practically shoving the ring in her face. Mira, will you be the best girlfriend ever and be my girlfriend? Wait, no, that's wrong. I forgot we're pretending this is a clean slate. Okay, restart. She stopped herself, flustered, cheeks flushed from laughing. Mira, will you be my girlfriend? Since technically you aren't right now? Mira had just stared at her, eyebrows furrowed. Zoe, what the fuck? Zoe groaned loudly, shooting her a mock glare. Mira, come on, my arms are getting tired. there's kind of a crowd too, so you better say yes before I make this even weirder. She lowered her voice into a conspiratorial whisper. Also, we might get free dessert if you cry, so, you know, just think about it. Mira had blinked at her in stunned silence before shaking her head, lips twitching despite herself. Yes, you big doofus. Now get up before you embarrass us both. Zoe's face lit up instantly, and she popped up onto her feet like a spring, grabbing Mira's hand with a triumphant grin. God, finally! If this is how you're gonna act during a fake proposal, I'm never doing a real one. She'd muttered under her breath, cheeks puffed in mock annoyance as she slid the turtle ring onto Mira's finger. Mira had just stared at her fussing, chest tight in a way she didn't know how to name. And when Zoe finally looked up at her, wide-eyed and pouting, demanding, "What, you're not gonna say it's nice? I spent a bajillion..." Mira had kissed her, just like that. Pulling back a second later, she'd caught the stunned, flushed look on Zoe's face and huffed a laugh through her nose. "You talk too much," she'd murmured, glancing down at the ring again. "I love it." Mira's throat closed up, the memory carving into her like glass. She blinked back tears furiously, clutching the rings tighter in her palm until her knuckles turned white. God, why did that have to come back now? Why this memory when everything was already falling apart? This is exactly what the reader is feeling when you just put that in. This is exactly what the reader is feeling. Oh, why now? Why remind us? She lowered herself onto the stool slowly, holding the rings like lifelines, like maybe if she gripped hard enough, she could rewind to that night, to before everything got so messy, before she screwed it all up. Her breath hitched, uneven and shaky. "I want to go back," she whispered to no one, voice breaking on the words. "Just take me back." Nimbus meowed softly from the counter, licking his paw clean, and Mira laughed under her breath, hollow and quiet. But she didn't let go of the rings. Not yet. She bit her lip as a few hot tears slipped down her cheeks. One by one, she slid each turtle ring onto her fingers. Rumi's on the right, Zoe's on the left, like armor, like anchors tethering her to the two people she couldn't bear to lose. Her hands trembled as she pressed a shaky kiss against each one, eyes falling shut, her breath hitched on the exhale. She wanted to fix this. She needed to fix this. No, she was going to fix this. She'd be damned if she let the two people she loved most in the entire world slip from her fingers because of this. Because of her. Because she couldn't keep her shit together. Something inside her clenched so tightly it hurt, like her ribs were trying to crush her lungs. The what-ifs had already started whispering, crawling into the cracks of her thoughts like they always did. What if Zoe never forgave her? What if Rumi decided she was too much, too broken, too dangerous to keep around? You think Rumi would think that? I know she's not thinking clearly. You think Rumi would think that? I'm just kidding. What if this was it? The mistake she couldn't come back from. Oh my god. The mistake she couldn't come back from. Her grip on the rings tightened until the edges, oh my god, go away, until the edges dug into her palm. She stared at them, jaw locking, and forced herself to breathe through the ache in her throat. She could fix this. She had to. Mira pushed herself to her feet, scooping up Nimbus on instinct. He pressed his tiny, warm body against her shoulder, purring faintly as though he could sense the storm rattling inside her chest. She ran her fingers absently over his fur, grounding herself in the softness as she carried him back to her room. Empty. Just a few hours ago, Rumi and Zoe had been sprawled across this bed, Zoe talking too loudly about something stupid, Rumi quietly laughing at her side, the air warm and alive and full. Now the silence was suffocating. She set Nimbus down gently and sat on the edge of the bed, fatigue washing over her like a weight she couldn't shake. Every part of her felt heavier than it should. Her chest, her arms, her thoughts. She slid under the blankets, curling up instinctively, but it was wrong. It didn't feel right. Not without them. Never without them. The ache clawed deeper into her chest, and she sat up abruptly like she couldn't stand it anymore. Her body moved before her mind caught up, walking to Rumi's room, grabbing one of her hoodies off the back of a chair. The lavender scent hit her instantly, soft and familiar, and she buried her face into the fabric, inhaling like it might stitch her back together. She slipped the hoodie on before moving to Zoe's room, scanning the bed until her gaze landed on one of her medium-sized plush turtles. Whoa! 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 We have Lele the turtle! Woo! I'm not screaming too much because it's very late. Oh, we have Lele the turtle! Oh! Oh, she's famous! Oh my god! That's so cute! Oh, Toss, you're so sweet. Okay, Lele, Zoe had called it, after insisting the name sounded right. Mira scoffed under her breath at the memory, hugging the turtle to her chest as she padded back to her own room. Back under the blankets, she curled tightly around the plush, breathing in the faint citrusy perfume Zoe always wore. It still lingered. It smelled like her. She shut her eyes and let herself sink into the familiar scents, into the illusion that they were here with her. But it didn't help. Not enough. Not this time. Nimbus padded across the bed and tucked himself under her arm, his tiny purr rumbling against her ribs. Mira hummed weakly, running a hand down his back, but the quiet wasn't comforting tonight. It was deafening. She couldn't leave it until tomorrow. Reaching behind her, she grabbed her phone from the nightstand, the screen lighting up her tired face. No messages, no calls. The hollowness that came with it hurt worse than she expected. But she deserved it, didn't she? After today, after everything. She swallowed, forcing down the lump in her throat, and scrolled through her contacts until her thumb hovered over Zoe's name. She hesitated. Would Zoe even pick up? Would she yell? Would she stay silent? Would she hang up? Her chest constricted, the air in her lungs turning sharp. And before she could overthink herself into paralysis, she pressed it anyway. It rang once, twice, and then Mira heard the faint sound of Zoe's ringtone somewhere outside the room. She forgot to take her phone. Fuck. She hung up quickly, heart pounding, and swiped to Rumi's contact instead. Her thumb hovered there too. Her pulse raced in her ears as the ringing started. Please pick up. Please, 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 please. Each second stretched, her stomach twisting tighter with every unanswered ring. And then, a quiet click. Relief nearly knocked the breath out of her. Hello? Rumi's voice was soft, hoarse, like she'd been crying too. Mira bit her lip hard, fighting the sting behind her eyes, and managed to whisper, broken and shaky. Thank you. I'm sorry. And that's the chapter break. Oh, Aiden, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? Props to Toss for these amazing POV changes. Like, they're so smooth. They're really good. Has anyone said that Toss is a good writer? Has anyone said that in these streams before? Toss doing God's work, feeding the entire Polytrix fandom. Yeah, yeah. Bro, Lele the turtle mentioned in the fic. I made the request and she replied. It was amazing. Wah, that's so sweet. Wah, that's really, really sweet. Aww. I'm gonna check if Toss is still here, if I can see. Yeah, she's here. Wah. Everyone say thank you, Toss. Everyone give Toss so much love. Is Toss okay? Does Toss need a hug? Everyone give Toss imaginary hugs right now. Wait. No. Thank you, Toss. Thank you, Toss. Yay! Okay, I'm gonna keep going now. Y'all keep thanking Toss over there. Y'all keep love bombing Toss. I'm sorry. Zoe's breath caught the second she heard Mira's voice. It was low, hoarse, almost broken, and somehow that sound alone made her chest ache. She stared at the phone like it had burned her, her chest tightening. Can we talk? Mira asked slowly, voice barely above a whisper. I don't want to leave it for tomorrow. Zoe swallowed hard, her throat thick. She glanced at Rumi, who was chewing on her lip, her brows furrowed. When Rumi finally looked up at her, silently searching for an answer, Zoe gave the smallest nod. Rumi let out a shaky breath she'd been holding. Okay, she murmured, voice fragile. There was a pause, a long, uneven silence where Zoe swore she could hear Mira breathing on the other end, trying to steady herself. I'm sorry, Mira started again, softer this time, like the first one hadn't been enough. I'm sorry for the way I acted earlier. She inhaled shakily, and Zoe could hear the faint hitch in her breath. I guess I was so damn strung up on proving I was fine, on proving to you both, hell, maybe even to myself, that I was finally okay. She paused, letting out a humorless laugh that cracked halfway through. And the thing is, it just made everything worse. Zoe pressed her palm against her mouth, fighting the sting in her eyes. Cooking, Mira said slowly, like she was pulling the word from somewhere deep, meant a lot to me. When I say a lot, I mean it was everything. It kept me grounded, helped me survive when I didn't have anyone else. It made me feel like I had control, like I could still make something good out of nothing. And when I realized when I couldn't use my knives, her voice wavered, catching on itself. It broke something in me. It sounds so damn small, but in that moment it felt like the last thing I had left was slipping through my fingers. And I took that out on you both. I shouldn't have. I know that, and I'm sorry. Zoe blinked through tears, clutching at the hem of her hoodie. I'm sorry, Rumi, Mira whispered next, and Zoe heard the crack in her voice like a fracture running straight through her. I'm sorry for blaming you when it wasn't your fault. It was such a fucked up thing to do, especially when... She stopped, breath stuttering. Especially when I was the one telling you it wasn't your fault a while ago. And I meant it. I still mean it. And if you still don't believe me, I'll keep saying it over and over every damn day until it finally sticks. Zoe heard the faint sound of Rumi's breath hitch on the pillow beside her. And Zoe, Mira continued, voice cracking further. I'm sorry to you, too, for lashing out at you, for saying you were picking sides, like I wasn't the one who put you both in that position to begin with. I wasn't fair to you, and you didn't deserve any of it. And I'm sorry for telling you both to get out, like this isn't your home too. Like you two aren't the closest thing to home I've ever had. Zoe wiped at her cheeks, but the tears kept coming anyway. Rumi's arm tightened around her waist, her whole body trembling where she curled into Zoe's side. There was another silence, heavy and fragile. Mira's breathing came uneven through the speaker, like she was still trying to keep herself together and failing. I want to do better, she finally said, her voice soft but steadying with each word. I need to do better, for you both, but for myself especially. Her voice broke again, rough and raw. You two are the only parts of me that are enough. You're the only thing in my life I don't ever want to lose. You're the other halves of my heart, and I don't even know who the hell I am without you. Zoe's breath hitched sharply, chest tightening painfully. Rumi buried her face into Zoe's shoulder, letting out a soft, shaky sound, a muffled sob she was trying and failing to swallow down. You don't have to forgive me right now, Mira whispered, voice fraying at the edges. I know I don't deserve it, but I promise I'll make it right. I'll make it up to you. I'll get help. I'll do whatever it takes. Just... She hesitated, voice dropping lower, almost pleading now. Please don't hate me. Please don't give up on me. Zoe's chest ached so badly she could barely breathe. She didn't even realize she was crying until Rumi's shaky hand found hers under the blanket and squeezed. There was no forgiveness yet, not fully, but Mira's voice cracked open something in both of them, and the silence that followed felt less like a wall and more like a first step. Mira spoke again after a while, voice small and hesitant, a sound Zoe still wasn't used to hearing from her. Can you two come back home? Zoe swallowed hard and closed her eyes. Part of her, the part that craved safety, warmth, and familiarity, ached to say yes. She wanted to go back, curl up with Mira, pretend nothing happened, and just feel whole again. But another part of her was tired, bone deep tired of putting everyone else first, tired of smoothing over cracks she didn't create, tired of feeling like she had to be okay so everyone else could be okay. And she hated herself for even thinking it, hated the guilt that burned through her chest, but the exhaustion weighed heavier than anything else. She waited for Rumi to answer first, bracing herself for her soft yes, for Rumi's natural instinct to comfort and fix and forgive. But when Zoe finally glanced at her, she found Rumi already watching her instead. Her expression was calm, steady, and so unbearably kind. She wasn't answering for them. She was waiting. Her eyes said, "What do you want?" And Zoe almost broke right there, because when was the last time someone had actually waited for her? So she took a shaky breath and for once chose herself. With every part of her screaming to just give in, she forced herself to shake her head. "No," she whispered, so quiet it barely left her lips. She didn't meet Rumi's eyes after that, terrified she'd see disappointment there. But when she finally risked a glance, there was only understanding. Rumi's gaze softened, warm and unwavering. And Zoe loved her so much in that moment it physically hurt. "We can't," Rumi said gently, answering for them both. "Sorry, Mira." There was a rustle of sheets on the other end, then Mira's quiet voice. "I understand. except she didn't sound like she understood at all. Zoe swallowed against the tightness in her throat, trying to find the right words, her voice rough from disuse. Mira? She hesitated, then sighed, pushing through. I just. I feel like we've been so caught up in us, in this relationship, that we haven't really stopped to take care of ourselves. Everything's been so much, and I think maybe. Her voice wavered. Saying the words out loud hurt more than she thought it would. Maybe we should take a pause. Focus on ourselves for a while. Get better first. There was a long silence. So, we're breaking up then? Mira's voice cracked on the last word, quiet and fragile in a way that made Zoe's heart ache. Zoe shook her head instantly, even though Mira couldn't see it. No, not breaking up. She ran a hand through her hair, groaning softly as frustration burned at the back of her throat. I'm not saying this is over, Mir. Just a pause. I need space to breathe. We all do. Across the bed, Rumi shifted, hugging her knees to her chest. After a moment, she nodded slowly, her voice low and steady. Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. I still need to deal with my aunt. There's a lot I've been avoiding. Zoe hummed softly in agreement, glancing down at her hands. On the other end of the call, Mira let out a long, shaky breath. Yeah, she murmured finally. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Her voice was flat, like she was trying to hold herself together. Zoe wanted to reach through the phone and hug her, to take it all back, to make it okay. But she knew this was the right thing, even if it hurt. And it did. God, it hurt. The silence stretched until Mira spoke again, barely above a whisper. Can you guys stay on the phone with me tonight? Please. Zoe nodded before she could even think about it. Yeah, of course. She shifted closer to Rumi, curling up against her side as Rumi leaned forward to plug her phone in so the call wouldn't die. On the other end, there was another soft rustle of sheets, Mira settling into. I love you both, Mira murmured, voice thick. Zoe swallowed hard and forced out the words, quiet but steady. I love you too, Mir. I love you, Rumi added softly. Zoe closed her eyes. Go away. Zoe closed her eyes, holding onto Rumi's warmth and Mira's breathing through the speaker. They weren't fixed, not even close. But maybe they didn't need to be. Not right now. For now, this was enough. For now, they were still them. Yeah. 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 Yeah, Toss, this is great. This is so good. This is so good, and I'm gonna have to play what it sounds like as the outro song now. Oh, that was so good. Let me read the notes. Hi, they're working it out. Next 3 chapters is going to focus on their recovery and trauma. Who won that poll was Zoe, so it's going to be centered around her next chapter. Also got a beta reader. Thank you again, Solis_Oriens. Shout out. Anyway, toodles. Yay. Okay. Tassa's beautiful writing and Artie's great voice acting is such an emotional combo. Thank you. This is how you write trauma. I need to get my phone. My phone is on Do Not Disturb right now. Why is it disturbing me? Yeah, this was really good, Toss. I don't know if she's here.
No, this was really good. Um, I keep seeing the works inspired by this one. I'm gonna have to check those out eventually. But yeah. Let's leave a comment. 318 comments. Oh my god. Oh hell yeah, bring it on, chef trauma angst. Angst, say it with me. Oh, Toss was here just a minute ago. I think Toss is here. What comment do I leave? I want to leave a comment. This was so good. Just really great. This is just really I have no words. I know that this is kind of like a book club. All right, who has Artie's Grammys for this reading? Stop it. Stop it. I was worried about my reading because like I'm trying to be like more quiet because it's 11:23 p.m. and also not force my voice too much. But thank you guys. Toss, I always believed in you. I did. Your reading is so cool, Artie. Thank you. Have you read Fearless and Undefined? No, but I feel like I might have heard of it. Fearless and undefined, this is what it sounds like. Fearless and undefined. Let's look it up. Also, tangent, but Fearless and Undefined is such a good lyric. It's so good. By Illusory Mage. Let me say mark for later. So many fics in my marked for later, and I'm not gonna get to them all. Oh, comment about Lele the Turtle for me. I don't have an account. Wait, let me do that. Let me do that. Whoo! Let's go. Oh, we can find your AF3 now. Guys, I'm gonna release the pod fic, so like it's gonna be revealed anyways. You should write, can the bricks be foam now? I'm gonna let Toss do whatever she wants, guys. I'm gonna let Toss do whatever she wants. I already like told her in that like Artie Sauce fic where I'm like, Toss, we're hurting. I already my fictional version already said what she needed to say, and I'm gonna leave everything to Toss now. Legend, I'm so excited to see how you read my fic, Artie. You have no idea. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's gonna be a while before I get to that. If like Toss keeps going like this, and I also need to finish Unchanging Polaris, so. But after that, Toss will be trusted. The Lele the Turtle. Oh my god. The mascot. Okay. Take care, you mean take care of their happiness? Say no more. Period. The Artie Sauce fic was genuinely so funny. We got one more, guy. We got one more, and I'm gonna check that. I'm gonna check that out soon. Maybe if Toss finally like takes kind of a break and not release anything tomorrow, I'll maybe do that and some more Unchanging Polaris tomorrow. We still need to get you on You're Enough. We still need to... yeah, we do, Toss. Oh, God. Oh, my God, guys. Oh. These lives... I was literally, like, reading one of the Artie Sauce fics, and it was like, oh, in the other Artie Sauce fics, it was like, oh, the requests, the recommendations kept coming, and that just kept putting Artie into more and more of a, like, wormhole. And it's like, that's true. There is so much. I can't get to them all. Like, like I said, there is a list. I'm gonna do You're Enough. I need to finish Unchanging Polaris first, because I started that, and then Toss
started to be real productive. And you know I can't deny a toss pick. The AO3 tag is Orange Nation. Oh my god. Yeah. Um Anyways, it's 11:30 over here. So I'm probably gonna end. Anything else you guys want to say? Girl, take your time. There's a lot of good Polytrix fics. There is. There is. And like, I read some like before going to bed. I read some like while I'm on the treadmill, on the gym. But like, I'm such a slow reader, guys. You should read Fearless and Undefined by Juicebox. It's very angsty. There's another one called Fearless and Undefined, and that's the one I saved. I mean, I should have guessed that there's multiple called Fearless and Undefined because it's Fearless and Undefined. Let me see. Fearless and Undefined by Luther Boy. Fearless and Undefined Juicebox. Is it called Closed In and Terrified, Fearless and Undefined in brackets, in parentheses? God, there's so many polytricks. Oh, I wanna let me save this one, but I do wanna look at the number of polytricks fics because like I was like checking the numbers of fics and it's like crazy. It's like over 2,000 right now. Let me search. Mirarumi Zoe. 2,607 works in Mirarumi Zoe. Let's fucking go. Guys, let's fucking go. It's 4:30 a.m. in here. Okay, heard. I'm gonna end this live for Cheeky to go to sleep. Because Cheeky's been annoying and not sleeping. 12:30 p.m. middle of my workday. Oh my god. It's so funny. Like, we have 11 hours behind over there. We have 5 hours ahead over there. Baby Nice Try by Luther Boy is so peak, though. I love Rumira as much as I love Polytrix. Wait, as... Oh, as Roses... Yeah. I have to service the trans roomie. I'm gonna get to the trans roomie. I don't know if I'll read it on live, TBH, because like I said, there's already a list that I have to go through, but I will read the trans roomie thick. Guys, I love trans roomie. Let me go on a tangent about this real quick. When I first watched the movie, I watched it with like 2 of my trans friends, and we were watching Rumi and we were like, guys, Rumi is trans. Like, it's not even like a stretch. It's like kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy because like there are different ways you can take it. You can I take it in the trans femme direction usually, but like you can also take it in trans masc direction. But the reason why we were like, that's a trans girl was like, it's the whole like hiding thing. It's the whole, also the fact that I know this is a vocal effect. It works so well with all kinds of queer people. Completely agree. Completely agree. What really sealed the deal for the trans roomie headcanon for like my friends and I was, I know this is a vocal effect, but when Rumi goes back to the demon version, her voice gets lower. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, it's kind of crazy. What do you mean her voice gets lower when she's a demon? And when she's, like, being herself, her voice is, like, back, like higher, kind of, like normal. Like, it's kind of crazy. No single piece of media has hit this close to home for me ever. I sob at the Celine scene. The Celine scene. There is a video that's really good about like, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen it. It's a pretty big video. It's K-pop Demon Hunters is what was it called? Was it called like K-pop Demon Hunters is queer and I'm not crazy? I think it's called something like that. But like watch that video if you haven't, because it's like, oh my God, like this movie is queer as fuck. And it's like Maggie Kong has already said it. Like we know this. We know this. We know the whole movie is Rumi coming out of the closet. She has said it herself, but like, oh my God. I just like all of me, that one line, like, why couldn't you love me? All of me. Like, oh my God. Um, I was gonna say something. Okay, when I was like first into this movie, I think one of the first TikToks I made, I think I might have talked about this on live. One of the first TikToks I made was like, oh my God, new queer anthem dropped, and it was me like singing along to like lip syncing to Golden. And I got so many comments being like, oh my God, why do you gay people need to like make everything gay? And I'm like, it's a headcanon. It's called a headcanon. It's called a headcanon. Like, oh my God. It's like I'm not hurting you by like taking that song in as like a queer anthem. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No more hiding, now I'm shining like I'm born to be? Be fucking serious. Be serious. But they are gay. You cannot convince me they're straight guys. No, literally. Literally. Because everything is gay. Everything's gay. You're just a gay boy. You're just a gay girl. Yeah, people are crazy. Exactly. I've seen so many people hate on Polytrix and it makes me so mad. It's so ridiculous. Like, it's so ridiculous. It's literally like there are some people being like, oh no, they're supposed to have a sibling dynamic. Who said that? Who said that? They're co-workers, which is the most intimate relationship of all. Guys, it's just a ship, like let me leave. Like exactly. Oh my God. Guys. Siblings where? Did you guys see how Mira and Zoe were looking at each other? Did you guys see how they were all looking at each other? Guys, we're not crazy. We're literally not crazy. And they were roommates. A true Rujinu shipper never hates on a Polytrick shipper and vice versa. No, exactly. Exactly. Speaking of Rujinu, how many Rujinu works are there? I got curious because at one point there was more than Polytrix, but it might have it might have flipped. 2,202. Polytrix leading by 400. Guys, I am so excited. I am so excited for the you know how I don't know if you guys see this, but like every year someone releases like AO3 stats of like the top 100 ships, and there's like a couple of different versions. Like there's a version where it's just poly ships, and I'm so excited for Polytrix to dominate that chart. It's gonna be so fun. They're not siblings, they're soulmates. Exactly. I wasn't English. What? What? I keep neglecting my job duties, but the Polytrix phantom calls me. Stop. Nor. Nor. Coley does things, does that. Yeah, 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 yeah. I think that's. Oh. No, I get what you mean. I'm thinking of someone else. I think the person I'm thinking of is like center of the light something. They release it on AO3. But I'm pretty sure Coley Does Things also does. I haven't checked out all her videos, but I know that like she does a lot of AO3 stuff. Watch the gap between P-Trix and every other Polytrix ship be gigantic. Real. Real, 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 real. Okay. Okay, y'all. I think I'm gonna play what it sounds like, and I'm gonna say goodbye because it is 11:40, and I'm so tired. I don't know why I started speaking with that. I'm so tired of waking up at like 12 p.m. So I'm gonna say bye and hopefully go to bed at a better time. Let me pull up what it sounds like. Spotify. Oh my god. Be normal. Be normal, Google search. Okay. Then actually sleep at night, Artie. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna leave this live. I'm gonna put out one more clip from the chapter 30 live. Just a silly little one. And then I'm gonna sleep. I don't think I have anything else I have to do. I don't think I have anything else I have to do. Yeah. What it sounds like. Oh, wait. I'm also gonna send my audiobook mentor the podfic I did. I'm gonna send my audiobook mentor the podfic I did, the Artisauce podfic, being like, hey, so like people started shipping me at like and I made a podfic of it. I hope you enjoy. It was just for fun. Ooh. How do you have a silly clip from chapter 30? Like by silly clip, I mean it's just it's just me like singing along to the Subway by Chaperone, which isn't silly, but like the way I did it is a bit silly. So anyway, let me pull up what it sounds like.